Hey guys, welcome back. It's Tommy with another best of 5 series in between the two pro players. Once again, we have an international engagement in between South Korea and Finland. Both players are spawning on 2000 atmospheres. Let me just start once again by introducing the players to you guys as we are spawning here in the lower left in the red. It is BYUN from South Korea, and his opponent here in the upper right in the blue, it is SERRAL from Finland. Now these games have been played very recently in the year 2022, I believe it was in May, so we're traveling a little bit back in time just to witness this nice series in between BYUN and SERRAL, and let's just see exactly what they have prepared for us. BYUN not opting to go for a proxy barracks against his opponent, is heading straight here towards his main, opening up here really standard with a supply depot and barracks. SERRAL, interesting enough, not going for a fast expansion, he's actually going for a spawning pool first, so we might see an early aggressive move out by SERRAL against BYUN. Let's see how this will unfold. The Terran not sending any CVs out to scout the map, just like we've seen Protoss do this just to cancel the first expansion point from the Zerg. And yeah, let's have a look what exactly the strategy from SERRAL is going to be. What exactly is he going to be doing? Perhaps with some Zerglings to fall here forward. Now the gas is also being done by BYUN. His barracks is about to finish, and pretty soon he's going perhaps for a Reaper. Hold on, he's actually adding a reactor here. No units yet in production for BYUN. We can also see the production tab from SERRAL. We see 6 Zerglings, 1 Queen, and even 1 Overlord is being produced. And only now SERRAL is taking his gas. So interesting enough, 6 Zerglings first on the move out here on the attack, while BYUN is also taking here his expansion. A little bit of exposed, of course, as the 6 Zerglings are coming in. And BYUN still not opting to go for any attack, for any army. His army is currently at 0. Now finally he has 2 supplies, so the first 2 Marines are being produced as SERRAL slowly but steadily is closing in. And those Marines need, of course, to stay on the high ground against those Zerglings. And another barracks, even another barracks, so 3 barracks are being produced by BYUN, while the Zerglings are pouring here forward. Now SERRAL nicely splitting those Zerglings, attacking the SCVs, so BYUN caught a little bit off guard as he has to micro those Marines and those SCVs. So 2 SCVs have already been sniped. SERRAL, of course, doing a really nice job. He's going to buy as much time as possible here with his Zerglings and even attacking this one command center. So yeah, slowly but steadily this of course will be cleared, but SERRAL has seen everything he needs to know. Saw the 3 barracks, saw the gas, and yeah, let's have a look. He's of course transferring some drones, speed is being done, and I'm pretty sure he's going to take his second expansion perhaps into this location or this one. This one is being chosen by SERRAL. So early aggressive SERRAL using those Zerglings as a scouting purposes, but also nicely for him sniping 2 SCVs as a second refinery. We also have stim being done by the Terran, and pretty soon he might even consider an attack, but he needs a factory and he needs a starport just to launch some nice attacks. Currently he's just moving out here with his Marines, mass Marines it is, on ground, as stim is almost halfway done, as more and more Zerglings are being produced. Combat shields are also being produced. And yeah, let's have a look what BYUN can do this. Can he cancel somehow this one expansion? There's 2 Queens here, 1 Marine is already hurt. Some Zerglings are pouring in as speed is about to get finished, so SERRAL is very likely going to wait for his speed. 1 Queen has been sniped, so really nice job here by BYUN. As the second Queen is also getting targeted. So yeah, BYUN answering now with the same aggressive move against SERRAL. Speed is being done by those Zerglings, so SERRAL will try a surround against those Marines. And yeah, BYUN in the end deciding to pull back, but SERRAL looking of course for a good position just to surround those Marines, just to get some kills against them. Let's have a look if he's going to be successful. The Marines are nicely clumped up together, but more and more Zerglings are pulling in, so this should be cleared. As SERRAL now might try to move here forward. There's a nice defensive wall being made by BYUN just to give protection towards those Marines. And yeah, let's have a look if SERRAL is going to commit with his Zerglings. He's the wall, of course, he has to retreat as he's pouring in actually more and more Zerglings, so massive amounts of Zerglings against the Terran, but the Terran also being prepared with many Marines. into his expansion point. We have an engineering bay for those upgrades. Let's have a look at the main one. Factory finally being done with a tank, of course, much needed, and that much needed starport as well around the 5-minute mark. And BYUN once again moving out. Yes, stim, but he really needs those medivac to heal those marines just in case. The hatchery quite taking some damage, so nice job by BYUN. But there's so many queens here to defend, so yeah, SERRAL just has to retreat a little bit and sends out here his slow-moving overlord just to see the factory, the starport. And yeah, BYUN is going to react with those marines. One tank is also being pushed out. Let's have a look what the next steps are going to be. I believe SERRAL is also going to take his third expansion, as he's just controlling here the map in the middle with those Zerglings, just to wait for a push out by BYUN. You can also see the production tab in the upper left part. The upgrades are also going out, one weapons upgrades, as slowly but steadily once again BYUN is moving out with his marines towards, I believe it should be this expansion point. Let's have a look. We also see a medivac now picking up some tanks. Yeah, this medivac of course just to support those infantry units against the Zerg. The rocks should be cleared really soon, as some scans will also very likely go out just to clear this creep highway. In the meantime, SERRAL tries to come in from the back, but there's really so many marines. Just trying perhaps to force a comeback by those marines, a retreat at home. And let's have a look. Scan goes out. The creep eggs will be cleared. 2 tanks nicely sieging up, but there's so many banings, so BYUN really has to split those marines really nicely. He's of course known for this. And yeah, let's not forget that SERRAL even has some Zerglings in the back, so nice surround could be done here against those Terran units, as there's Zerg just all over the place here, from the front, from the back, and even from the right side, some queens. So yeah, BYUN just showing his presence. Just let's have a look what exactly is going to happen. Actually, BYUN now deciding to retreat. He knows of course he's in a bad spot. There's just so much creep and the position was really bad. SERRAL pretty much prepared with so many queens, banelings and Zerglings, as now SERRAL is the one moving out. And yes, indeed, he has taken this expansion point, as well as we see more and more medivacs being produced by BYUN and being sent out. I believe the next target could be this expansion, and at the same time a multitask into this expansion is of course very hard to execute. But yeah, let's just see how things will unfold. This is just mass Zerglings with banelings. The medivacs do move out. Some marines might get caught off guard, so they need to be protected by their mates here. Let's have a look. And even another expansion is being taken by SERRAL, so SERRAL really greedy onto this map. And let's see, 2 tanks and infantry and some medivacs. The other medivacs are pouring here into this location. Nice multitask here by BYUN, as he's attacking 3 expansions at one time. Really nice job by him. But yeah, SERRAL also being prepared with massive amounts of Zerglings. However, the position is really nice here for the Terran. Even these 2 tanks are really nicely protected by the mineral line. And yeah, let's have a look. BYUN is just keep pushing here forward. What exactly does SERRAL have? Just massive amounts of queens, banelings and Zerglings. No infestors, no wishes for him to go for Mutalisk, as he's on a layer. But we might see of course some much needed Vipers, perhaps some infestors would also be really nice, as now SERRAL is deciding perhaps to bust here through the ways actually opened. This could be really deadly, as even more and more units are pouring in for SERRAL. So BYUN might be in some serious trouble here. At the same time, some Liberators have joined here the army, but the queens can of course heal themselves on creep. So nice defense by SERRAL, but these tanks really nicely positioned. And in the end, SERRAL not deciding to attack. Those Liberators would be really good into defending. So yes, BYUN still holds his ground. The small task force is still in position, as SERRAL looking like he really wants to clear this, but he's going to take quite some damage. Those banelings can't really get a connection, and those Zerglings in the end will be able to clear this out. At the same time, BYUN moving here forward to that hurt expansion. So sadly here for SERRAL, he hasn't paid attention, as his expansion is going to get dropped. At the same time, he's trying to roll here forward with those banelings. He's attacking at 2 expansion points. Those SCVs will be microed, but those banelings with that splash damage dealing so much amounts of damage, 13, 15, kills here. The tanks are attacking the Zerglings, but at the same time the SCVs are being attacked. So yeah, 24 kills for SERRAL. Of course, he has lost quite a big chunk of his army, but in the end the damage has been done here. 26 workers lost for BYUN by those banings and by those Zerglings. Really nicely executed. At the same time, more and more Zerglings are being produced for the Zerg, as he's very likely wishing, of course, to re-establish those expansion. He has taken this one expansion back and even forced here BYUN to move backwards with his Marines. So really great defense and nice counterattacks by SERRAL against his opponent, while BYUN still nicely sniping some drones with quite a small force, only 1 or 2 Terran Marines. And yeah, things have just slowly stepped down, but remember, 27 workers have been sniped. However, if I look at the worker count, BYUN still at 46 versus the 46 for SERRAL, so it's still very balanced. SERRAL not having that many workers. However, his army is really high on Zerglings and banelings. And yeah, let's have a look. Is he going to try to bust here once again through? The way is pretty much open. There are some rocks here, but they're being defended. And there are of course some siege tanks with Marines just to hold this ground. At the same time, BYUN still tries to buy, of course, some time for his macro game. Interesting enough, he has dropped those Marines into their death, but yeah, it happens, of course. We all do mistakes. BYUN, of course, being busy multitasking here all over the map. And yeah, let's see some nice connection out of those banelings. BYUN nicely microing those Marines back and into those tanks. So the tanks already with 20 kills and 8 kills and 10 kills on the other tanks. So really nice job by BYUN with those hidden tanks in the back against his opponent. The Zerg still search for other expansion points, such as thing here, as more and more is being launched now towards SERRAL. SERRAL still stays into the same army composition, banelings with Zerglings and Queens, no other support units. I don't see any Infestors, I don't see any Vipers, no Ultralisk, even though Ultralisk would have been really nice against those Marines, against those tanks. And also BYUN staying at the same unit composition, however adding some Liberators. So the Liberators are of course really strong against the ground. Let's see how things will unfold as slowly but steadily the Terran moves here forward. BYUN is nicely multitasking his Medivacs, so nicely hitting those Marines, and the position is really good, but at the same time we see 7 SCVs have been killed. I believe this has happened here into this location with some banelings. So yeah, nice job by SERRAL once again. And yeah, let's have a look at a small attack here, but SERRAL is prepared for this with a swarm of Zerglings and banelings and even nice attacks. However, now he needs to be careful as more and more tanks are pouring forward towards this location. This expansion is of course really important. So is this one, as the other expansions pretty much need to be rebuilt, or the other ones are pretty much mined out really soon for the Zerg. So of course BYUN knows this. He's attacking exactly expansions, the new expansions, moving quite forward with his forces, trying to lure SERRAL into those siege tanks. As we can see, of course, so many kills for those siege tanks, and even new siege tanks are arriving. This one with 23 kills, for example. So really a nice strategy here for the Terran. And yeah, let's see how things will unfold. Another nice scan here by BYUN with my Liberator in the air, as SERRAL is pretty much bringing all of his forces into this location. And yeah, let's see the Liberator, of course, dealing nice amounts of damage. At the same time, we see another run by here by BYUN. So yeah, really nice job as the banelings now keep rolling in just to clear this. So many units have been killed down there for BYUN, as BYUN is trying to push here forward against the expansion taking quite some damage. Things are here to heal. SERRAL tries to come in from the back, tries to kill those tanks, as more and more Marines are moving up forward just to snipe this hatchery. And yeah, nicely done by BYUN as he's taken down the hatchery here. He has to regroup now, he has to rebuild those units. Really a very balanced game. Still anyone's game, as we're slowly but steadily we're closing at the 15-minute mark, as those tanks, even the Liberators, are really strong here for BYUN. And yes, Serral tries of course to find a good position, tries of course to go for a surround, even for a attack, but BYUN looks like he's ready for this. His expansion point is a little bit exposed. He sends out just a couple of Zerglings just to see exactly what BYUN is having here. At the same time attacking those rocks and just slowly but steadily pushing here forward against SERRAL. And let's just see. SERRAL tries of course to come in from the back and from the front. He might try a surround move, and here we go. SERRAL is indeed going to commit. The swarm is coming here forward. The Marines will be surrounded. Nice kiting here by BYUN as he finds a better position for them, but in the end so many units have been killed. At the same time the creep is getting spreaded for SERRAL. And yes, things now finally have settled down as BYUN has to regroup. He has to heal up and perhaps wait for his reinforcements. SERRAL still roaming around, of course, roaming from the upper part to the lower part. He doesn't really know where exactly the next strike is going to happen here by BYUN. He's even taking this expansion into this location. And yeah, let's have a look. BYUN slowly but steadily now moving forward. He still has this group in the upper part. He might try to snipe this expansion once again. And yeah, currently just waiting for more and more reinforcements. SERRAL still on the move out, still trying to find out where exactly the next attack is going to happen. And of course these expansion points are really important for SERRAL. BYUN moving more and more forward. He needs to be careful. Those banings getting some great connections, so BYUN not paying attention. Sadly for him, I believe he was focused here into this spot, so interesting move out by BYUN. Sadly not paying attention. Now it's just regrouping into this location, taking quite some damage. Those banings are really good against those Marines. And at the same time BYUN has taken the 6 o'clock. And let's have a look. More and more Zerglings are being poured out here by SERRAL. He's trying of course to attack this location. There is a Liberator, there's even a bunker, but it's empty. And a couple of Zerglings are pouring here forward, so 2 SCVs have already been killed. Nicely done by SERRAL. At the same time BYUN attacking into this location with his siege tanks, with his Marines. Let's see how this will unfold. The Marines are nicely healing themselves up. And yes, still anyone's game as we're closing at the 20-minute mark, so really nice first game in between the two pros. Let's see how this is going to unfold, and nicely move out here by SERRAL. He's trying perhaps of course once again for a surround against the units from BYUN. He's coming in from many sides. It's going to be really hard for the Terran to defend. So in comes SERRAL, but at the same time he's coming in from the back. From the front, the Marines are pretty much surrounded, so great connections once again by those banelings, and the banelings all over the place with those Zerglings. Really great, getting some good connection. The Liberator of course is untouched as he can kill so many units, but a nice engagement by SERRAL, killing so many units for BYUN. At the same time SERRAL now droning up really strong, having more and more workers, and once again he's moving forward with his units. I believe he's going to try to attack this location. There is a bunker this time full with Marines. Liberator, and now he's changing his mind. At the same time BYUN now moving forward, and he's going to be able to snipe this hatchery. At the same time in comes SERRAL with his reinforcements, but also SERRAL going for those units, going for those SCVs, splitting those Zerglings left and right. So really great micro intense game by both players. And yeah, let's see, still SERRAL remaining onto those banings, onto those Zerglings. Really nicely done here by him. And let's see what the next attack move is going to be here by SERRAL, but SERRAL also has lost his expansion. I believe BYUN doesn't really know about his expansion yet, as no units have been sent there into that location. And yeah, it looks like BYUN is once again going to focus his army into the upper part from SERRAL, and let's see how that will unfold. Army wise, both still at the same army count, but hold on, actually BYUN having more army, however less workers than SERRAL. And yeah, in comes BYUN with his Liberators, with his tanks, with his Marines, but at the same time SERRAL just sending out those SCVs just to hurt the army even more and more from the Terran. 8 SCVs have been sniped. At the same time the hatchery should be sniped. Even one supply depot is taking out, so BYUN dropping to 27 workers, and still tries of course to move forward against SERRAL, but SERRAL with a nice hidden base here in the lower right part Really nice job by him, as more and more SCVs are falling. SERRAL still staying into this location, still sniping more. Actually 19 workers have been killed, BYUN dropping to 17 workers. And this army move out by him has to make something happen. SERRAL is now moving forward with his Zerglings, with his Banelings. But yeah, BYUN is just really strong with those split tanks and with those liberators in the air. However, the economy from BYUN right now pretty much in shambles now. Only 17 workers being left. Some drones have been sniped, but yeah, more and more is being produced by SERRAL, as he even has those Zerglings here into this location. Even some SCVs might get sniped once again. And yeah, let's see what BYUN is going to be able to be doing here. But still, he's moving forward with those liberators, with those tanks. Really a strong army composure. The Queen X will be sniped, of course, immediately. And yeah, more and more Marines are pouring here forward. One Queen is going to get sniped, but now the Queen can heal, of course, themselves. BYUN not really waiting for those reinforcements in the back, but at the same time SERRAL coming in from the back. But there's really so many liberators here and tanks for BYUN. And yeah, even though SERRAL tries, of course, to commit, but he's going to lose so many units. Once again, he's coming in from the left, from the right. Some Hydras have joined the army, but BYUN is holding his ground, and he's nicely microing his units left and right. And all of a sudden, he's just pushing more and more forward. Even some units will be sniped here as a small task force is going for those drones. So your worker-wise, still 17 workers for BYUN, but he has much more army than his opponent. This is looking like a really strong game here by both players. BYUN still pushing here forward. Does he know that he has the advantage? Yes, indeed, he's going to take this game. Even though he's at 17 workers, look at that, versus the 50. His army was much stronger, much higher, and he's able to take the game. So the first game goes to BYUN. Let's just jump straight into game number 2. BYUN leading this series with 1-0 against SERRAL. So yeah, once again, this time they're spawning here on Curious Minds in the upper left. In the red, it is BYUN, and his opponent in the lower right in the blue, it is SERRAL from Finland. So really exciting game. I really saw that SERRAL had the advantage in game number 1. He really much hurt the economy from BYUN. Really strong. BYUN only had 17 workers back then, but somehow the army was, of course, much stronger with those liberators, with those tanks, and of course the nice micro by BYUN with those Marines, giving him the victory. Yeah, let's see how things will unfold. BYUN once again opening up with his standard, with his barracks and his supply depot, and I believe SERRAL has changed his tactics a little bit. Yes, he's not going for a spawning pool first, he's going for a hatchery first now. So let's see how that will work out for him. Gas is also up by BYUN. He might try some Reaper harassment against the Zerg, as we're about to find out what exactly the next strategies are going to be. Let's see if SERRAL is going to change his strategy from mass Zerglings and Banelings into something else. Yeah, we're about to find out, as the Overlords is also nicely moving out on the map just to see where exactly those, if there are any hidden proxy barracks. Now we see the extractor, we see the spawning pool, so the pretty standard open up by the Zerg against his opponent. There's the hatchery, and yeah, let's have a look. We actually once again see a reactor, so BYUN might try once again the same build order just like in game number 1. Mass Marines, no Reaper harassment, as there is that expansion also being produced now by him. SERRAL nicely moving out with his Overlord. He should have vision really soon of what exactly BYUN is up to. Yeah, by the looks of it, it might be once again a mass barracks strategy by the Terran. We will very likely see SERRAL once again take his second expansion. And yeah, let's see what exactly they're producing. Just a couple of Zerglings, some Queens, and we also see the first Marines now being produced by BYUN. But hold on, we actually see a different strategy. The first factory is being produced. I believe he's going to continue with a starport, so a different build order this time by BYUN against his opponent. A 1-1 build order, 1 barracks, 1 factory into 1 starport. It should be, at least, as we see the other hatchery being constructed here by SERRAL. And yes, SERRAL still sending out now his first Zerglings on the map. The Overlord is also nicely being positioned, I believe, just to see in case there is a medivac move out by the Terran. The first Marines are also out. And yeah, they should be able to take care of this one Zergling. So yeah, nice job here by BYUN, as there is that starport. So yeah, if BYUN might try to be much more aggressive with his marines, with his medivac, so we might see some drops into this location. But of course, SERRAL should be ready for this with some spores, with some queens, as his second expansion is about to finish here. Let's have a look. Some marines do move out on the map, so really interesting. No support for them, just a couple of marines, as SERRAL just keeps checking out the map what exactly is going to be happening. So BYUN, interesting, just like in game number 1, he's moving out with 6 marines, feeling really confident here at almost at the 4-minute mark, even sniping one overlord. And we actually see cloak is being produced and the banshee. So no medivac aggression by BYUN. He's actually going for the cloaked banshee just to snipe as many SCVs, as many drones as possibly. And there is this one banshee. Cloak is also being about to be finished here really soon. And he's just showing his presence with those marines just to lure out the forces by SERRAL. And we also see a roach warrant by SERRAL. Where SERRAL might try a timing push with some roaches, with some ravagers. It could be a possibility, but of course really hard to execute against some siege tanks. And let's see what this one banshee is going to be doing. Of course the rally point is set down here, so he might try to go for this attack zone. Of course SERRAL not having any spores, sadly for him. He's not expecting any banshee attack, so this could be really deadly for BYUN here with a really nice move. Let's see, is he going to produce more and more banshees? The second banshee is also being produced. And yeah, let's see what exactly he's going to be doing. Actually, he's heading straight from the middle of the map with his cloaking about to get finished. Where exactly he's going to be attacking SERRAL, not having a spore. I didn't see a spore into his main. He has some overloads, of course. Finally, the first spore is being produced, but there won't be detection for quite a couple of seconds, so some drones might get sniped. One, I believe, could be sniped. Yes, indeed, one has been sniped. The second one as well, as the spore is about to finish. Now the other hatcheries do have some spores, so yeah, SERRAL also with a nice timing with those spores. He knows, of course, exactly when a timing push could happen by the Terran, so really great anticipation. But still 2 drones have been sniped, as this one banshee could regroup with a second banshee and deal much more damage against the economy. Also see the second command center being produced by BYUN. Yeah, let's see how things will unfold. Currently still a very defensive SERRAL with those roaches, with those Zerglings, just waiting for BYUN to make the first move, as BYUN has much more map awareness against his opponent with those tanks, with those marines. And now the 2 banshees have indeed grouped up and they might go for this location. There is a spore here, but still 2 banshees can one-shot a drone, so let's see what is going to happen. Cloak really early being produced here, early being made by BYUN as he's moving here forward. There is a spore, and here we go, 1 drone, 2 drones already have been killed, and the queen's also taking quite some damage, so really nice job by BYUN with those banshees dealing great damage. 3 drones and the second queen has also been sniped, so the banshee is really doing a nice job. They're now retreating just to get repaired, very likely, as they also bought some time for this one expansion. And yeah, SERRAL still staying onto those Zerglings, this time adding some Ravagers, some Roaches. Let's have a look, is he going to attack? But there are of course tanks on the map. So yeah, those tanks really strong against the Roach Ravager composition. We have a lair now being done by SERRAL. As yeah, now BYUN is going to regroup here in the middle. Might try of course to take the other expansion point. And yeah, let's see what his next decisions are going to be here. As in comes BYUN with his team Marines. He's moving straight forward in the middle. He might of course try to snipe those queen eggs and just retreat later on. We're just a waiting game as we're closing at the 10-minute mark. More and more Zergs are being sniped here by those banshees, so the banshees really with many kills. However, BYUN needs to be careful not to get killed by those queens. Sorry. So let's have a look here. Of course, has to repair those banshees really soon, and he might try once again to send them out. This location would be really nice to attack. And yeah, BYUN now on the defense, just planning that expansion, just sending more SCVs out. Worker wise, both of them pretty much at the same amount, 70 against 65. And yeah, slowly but steadily the creep is being spreaded by SERRAL, so pretty soon we might see a timing push at around the 10-minute mark, as more and more Ravagers are being produced by SERRAL. BYUN also having those 2 tanks, I believe, yes indeed 2 tanks used as defensive purposes. This is going to snap some rocks here just to clear the middle of the map. In the meantime, SERRAL looking like he's going for the high ground here, looking like he's going to attack those supply depots. Okay, it's still waiting, it's just a waiting game, and we even have some infestors now being added by SERRAL. The middle of the map has been cleared, but SERRAL is straight into this position with his units, with his Ravagers and Roaches. Really nice anticipation here by him as more and more tanks are being added, but it's still a waiting game, a very defensive gameplay here by both players. His combat shield is also being done by BYUN. And yeah, let's have a look who is going to be making the first step, who is going to be attacking first. Still anyone's guess, as both players really high on that army, 112 versus 119. Let's see, more and more tanks are being added, more and more Marines. The expansion is also being added. SERRAL is taking his upper right ground, but yeah, still waiting here what exactly is going to be happening. Slowly but steadily, once again, the Terran is moving a little bit forward with his siege tanks, with his Marines. SERRAL at the same time responding with his Roach Ravagers, and although we do have some kills here, we do have 7 kills, and even this one hatchery might get snapped, so important snap here for BYUN as SERRAL caught a little bit off guard, losing those 7 drones and losing this one hatchery. Really important kill as some hydros are now being produced, so I believe that SERRAL might go into some lurkers. Lurkers of course really strong against those Marines. And we also see now BYUN moving forward with his infantry in the middle of the map with his tanks. Needs to be careful, not all of those tanks are sieged up, but SERRAL is not going to wait. He's going to attack some of those Marines and then fast retreat. At the same time he's sending out some Roaches to take care of those Marines, but still BYUN looks like he's going to commit. He's sending out more and more reinforcements. He knows that he has this nice choke point here against SERRAL, and SERRAL might be in some serious trouble as the siege tanks slowly but steadily move here forward. The infestors will get snapped immediately, and the Marines are also nicely being spread just to allow those tanks to fire towards the Zerg units. Lurkers are now inbound, but there is a scan available. This is some nice fireballs by SERRAL as the Lurkers once again on the ground, but they will be seen here by this one scan. The Marines are moving forward with still a nice hunger this time. The Marines won't be able to escape, however there's so much firepower by the Terran that the Lurkers have to retreat. But once again SERRAL looking like he's going to give up his next hatchery. So nice snap by BYUN. At the same time he also has some units here into its location, also sniping some drones here. So really great timing push by BYUN at around the 11-minute mark. However this time he has to retreat a little bit just to regroup. He's of course abusing this choke point here. It will be nice job by him, and let's see how things will unfold this time. Great fungers by SERRAL, and so many sniped units. Still this one tank is being left alive with 7 kills. Finally it gets snapped, so SERRAL is going to survive. He did lose 2 expansion, is able to replace this one, also taking quite some damage here into this location. We really nice game once again in between those 2 pro players. It's the second game currently, BYUN leading 1-0, but this time we have a nicer unit composition by SERRAL, adding some lurkers, adding some infestors, and hold on, we actually have another engagement here. No liberators this time, interesting enough for BYUN, as he's going for some marauders. So yeah, marauders it is going to be here for BYUN as he's pushing forward into this location, but there are lurkers. And yeah, lurkers are really great against those Marines, but of course let's scan, notice those lurkers. And slowly but steadily more and more creep is being snapped by BYUN. But we see another army move out here by SERRAL. with his roaches, with his ravagers, perfectly on time just to snipe those two command centers. We see the planetary getting healed up by those SCVs, but there's so much firepower here by the Zerg, so I believe this should be sniped. It's a nice snap here by SERRAL as he's able to kill so many workers. The SCVs have been killed, the tanks in the back have been sniped. In the end, this should of course be cleared, or is it? Those ravagers are still alive, still dealing damage, and look at that, 26 SCVs have been killed here, so such a nice move by SERRAL once again as BYUN has dropped to 60 workers. At the same time, BYUN responding with the same note, trying to snipe those drones, but in comes the fungal perfectly on time. As more and more SCVs are being sniped here into this location. Some ravagers with 11 kills, some roaches are still alive as more and more units are being sniped, but in the end SERRAL is also going to be losing his expansion. So yeah, worker-wise 30 kills here for SERRAL against BYUN. Still a balanced worker count for both of them, and a small advantage once again army-wise for BYUN against SERRAL. We also see the losses into the lower right part. So really interesting second game once again in between the two pros. Let's see how things will unfold as both of them have sniped their expansions. This refinery might explode really soon, as BYUN has to set up some defenses of course here against the next push. And we actually see some snipers now being added by BYUN. We have snipers really strong in the late game, especially against those lurkers. SERRAL looking like he's moving forward. He really wants to once again snipe this expansion point. And yeah, BYUN just holding this ground, holding the position, just to not allow any army move out by SERRAL. Yes, SERRAL also taking this location much closer here to his expansion point. And we even see a Nidus Swarm being produced. So let's see where exactly he might try a Nidus Swarm. This could be a nice location just to snipe the production tabs, production buildings by BYUN. Let's have a look if it's going to be successful. He needs of course some detection here. He needs an overseer, an overlord. Although we actually see a nice blinding clouds being added by Vipers, the Vipers from SERRAL. So really great job by him. Sniping those tanks, really important to get them out of the game. At the same time, SERRAL slowly but steadily moving forward. This Nidus Swarm has been done. Let's see where exactly he's going to attack. We see the Terran regrouping here in the middle of the map. More and more creep is being spreaded. Once again, BYUN into this location with his snipers in the front, losing that scan, sniping some lurkers, sniping some roaches. But there will be vision really soon for SERRAL as well. This is going to commit here forward, taking quite some damage out of those snipers. So he has to retreat. The same can be said here for BYUN, regrouping once again. As I believe he has also scanned this location into this position, but hold on, we actually see this one Nidus Swarm being completed really soon. But BYUN, luckily for him, he has some units here, so should be able to hold this. At the same time, BYUN moving here forward with his snipers, with his infantry, killing some of the Zerg units. The Zerg has to stay back, of course. The tanks will be really important here for BYUN. Yeah, let's see if of course BYUN tries to find a good position for his tanks and for his units. The high ground is really strong here against SERRAL. And let's see, lurkers, it is once again mass lurkers with some infestors. As by the looks of it, SERRAL is going to abandon this location. Some drones have already been pulled back. And yeah, BYUN really nicely spreading his units once again against the Zerg. And we even see one medivac move out. The hatchery has been sniped, so nice job here by BYUN. However, SERRAL immediately building it, another one in the upper right port, so it's still anyone's game here on Curious Minds. Really intensive second game. We see another move out by SERRAL, this time with some Zerglings, and let's see, there's a nice wall in. There should be some defenses here by BYUN, so BYUN thinking of course about any scenario. His tanks are also in position. Although we see a nice drop by BYUN. At the same time, he's attacking this location with those siege tanks, sniping those lurkers really nicely, and even EMPs them. Nice job here by BYUN versus SERRAL. More and more sniping going on as he's moving here forward straight to the middle line. Really nice job, but the lurkers are in position. They should be able to hold. At the same time, Serral tried to move here forward, but it was just so many tanks as he has to retreat. He has to perhaps defend this location, but the high ground belongs to the Terran. Sniping once again going on. More and more lurkers will fall. Tried of course to bungle those snipers, but hold on, we actually see now SERRAL pretty much commit. Think of the Vipers with everything, with the blinding clouds all over the place, all over those tanks. More and more units are getting sniped left and right. The Terran loses units, same can be said here for the Zerg, but in the end, the Terran looks like he has to retreat, of course, as more and more units are being gathered here by the Zerg. And yeah, interesting job here by both of them, as we actually see it's still very balanced, 78 army versus 70. However, SERRAL with many more workers, but the same case was in game number 1, so BYUN could still of course take it if he has a better position for those siege tanks in the higher ground. And yeah, let's see what is going to be happening as now BYUN moving here forward against the upper part of that expansion. We see once again SERRAL really tries of course to damage the production buildings from the Terran, but is he going to be successful, as there's 2 marines here with stim, even 1 SCV attacking. At the same time we have another attacking point here into this location with those snipers. The Bane is getting some good connections now. The Nidus has not been finished. And so yeah, Banings now is going to be the answer from SERRAL against those armies, and we even see massive amounts of Zerglings. Of course, they're really cheap in the late game. And yeah, BYUN not really making it here through. For some Vipers still getting energy, of course, for those blinding clouds. This spot could be really perfect. But yeah, so many siege tanks for BYUN as he's moving forward. The lurkers are in position, scan goes out, snipers are ready to snipe those units, and we even see a torpedo against this one sniper. So nice job here. Every kill counts of course now in the late game, as we're closing at the 20-minute mark. Such a balanced game about those 2 pros. And now we see some Zerglings, but we have Marauders. At the same time we see 6 drones have been sniped somewhere on the map. Nice job here by both of them, really hurting each other. I believe SERRAL once again is going to give up this position, but at the same time is rebuilding this one. So such a nice cat and mouse gameplay here by both of them. As SERRAL once again tries of course to snipe some SCVs. Not that many defenses here, so SERRAL comes forward with a couple of Zerglings. Just buys some time to snipe some workers, as he's going to be retreating now. And yeah, SERRAL taking this expansion. Same can be said here for BYUN, as he's also taking this expansion point. And yeah, BYUN once again on the regrouping. Let's see, is he going to attack into this location? We see a Nidus being produced, and this time there are no defenses here, it's just a couple of SCVs, so this could be really deadly against BYUN. BYUN brings here his team Marines, but the worm is about to finish, and if it's a couple of lurkers it could be really strong. Yeah, there is this one lurker who makes it here too, but there is a scan available for BYUN to be able to hold. However, still taking quite some damage. Even one roaches made it here through, and 3 SCVs have been sniped. Nice job. We see another Nidus, this time just for a scouting purposes against BYUN, as BYUN is pushing forward with his infantry, with his medivacs. This hatchery will be abandoned of course, as it is not producing any mines. And yet BYUN looking like he's going to push here forward, but there are lurkers, there are so many Zerglings. The tanks should be on the high ground against BYUN, and all of a sudden BYUN losing here this expansion point against some units from SERRAL. Still, this expansion is really important, but at the same time another lurker has made it here through, and he will be sniped, so SCVs had to be pulled back. Really nice macro multitask here by both players. Still anyone's game, like I told you, really interesting. However, SERRAL now even long distance mining against BYUN, stealing those minerals, as every mineral patch of course counts now. BYUN only mining from this location and this location here. And let's have a look at SERRAL. He has this base here. This one has been sniped, so also mining out of 2 bases. Really interesting. Let's see where the next battle is going to happen here in between these 2 pros. We do see some Banings, we see some Vipers. Those snipers will be really important, but they're a little bit exposed now. EMP goes out, Scan goes out, and the great fungal really catching so many units, and the lurkers will be able to deal so much splash damage. Those fungals were really strong. siege tanks weren't really all sieged up, and yeah, it looks like SERRAL just keeps punching here forward. Now the high ground belongs once again to the Terran, as the workers have now to push here forward. The production buildings will be attacked really soon, as at the same time SERRAL even sending out some units here just to snap some SCVs, and in the end so many production buildings will fall at the same time. The SCVs here have fallen as well thanks to this one lurker. 11 kills on this one lurker. A really nice job here by SERRAL multitasking, and those SCVs are really exposed, as they will be targeted now down BYUN, not paying attention sadly for him. Going to lose so many workers, 22, once again 19 workers for BYUN, just like in game number 1. And yeah, BYUN once again on the push out with his remaining units, with his tanks, with his marauders, and with his infantry looking like he's straight going to cancel this expansion. So SERRAL now has to be careful with his workers, as at the same time he's bringing down those Zerglings against those supply depots. And we even have another lurker here into its location, so pretty much BYUN not mining at all now. SERRAL is still mining, so interesting scenario once again, just like in game number 1. You see the snipers EMP those units, but there will be detection of course for both of them. Scan goes out, the hatchery once again under attack. Still anyone's game now, even though BYUN has dropped 216 workers versus the 56. SERRAL brings forward his Zerglings here against BYUN, as BYUN is losing more and more workers. The SCVs have to fight for their life. It's just 3 of them remaining, and 2 are remaining right now. BYUN in some serious trouble, as only 2 workers are being left alive for him. BYUN still having a strong army, but SERRAL in the end is still mining, can still produce some Zerglings, some Banelings. And let's have a look what exactly is going to happen, where even those 2 SCVs are. But hold on, SERRAL is not going to wait, he's going for a surround really nicely. Blinding clouds left and right once again. More and more Zerglings are going in, the snipers try their best. Nice kiting back and forth by BYUN, as SERRAL still tries to push here forward. BYUN much more mobile against the swarm from SERRAL, but in the end, yes, indeed, GG for BYUN. BYUN has to give up. He only had 2 workers, and in the end he dropped 23 supply, so really nice job. So 1-1 it is. Let's just jump straight into game number 3. Game number 3, the score is currently 1-1. Such a great series in between these 2 pros. Great first 2 games, long games above 20 minutes. Now this time they're spawning on Pride of Altaris at 2 spawning location map, I believe it is, as we have spawning in the lower right, in the red, it is BYUN, and his opponent in the upper left from Finland, it is SERRAL. So Finland versus South Korea it is, of course, as we have here the game number 3, BYUN. Let's see what exactly his tactics is going to be here, as those benches really did a nice job in game number 1. It's opening up here really standard with a supply depot, and it should be a barracks really soon. And by the looks of it, SERRAL also saving some minerals for his expansion, so pretty standard open up by both of them. Interesting pull here by those drones, but yeah, the pretty standard stuff. There's the barracks, should be followed up by a Vespin Geyser, and interesting enough, BYUN not opting to go for any Reaper harassment, is opting to go for those 6 Marines earlier. So interesting strategy, I believe, developed by himself against the Zerg. So really strong stuff. Let's have a look. The next steps are going to be BYUN going for his expansion as well, feeling really confident, as his barracks is about to get finished. No gas yet by him, but of course not needed against if you're producing some Marines. Yeah, supply the spawning pool and extractor also up here for SERRAL, as more and more drones are being produced for him. There's that gas, of course, much needed for those speed Zerglings. And yeah, let's see how things will unfold into this game number 3. There's this double gas now being produced by by BYUN. So yeah, let's see what exactly is going to happen. We also have an orbital being upgraded by him. The first Marines are out. No reactor this time being produced, as he's just pumping out Marine after Marine. And yeah, let's see what the idea from SERRAL is going to be. Pretty standard up. The first Queens are also being produced. And yeah, let's see what exactly is going to be happening here. Double gas for BYUN, interesting enough. Is he going for many more barracks, or is he actually going for a factory with a starport? It looks like a factory into starport once again by him, just like in game number 2, as SERRAL is taking here his expansion point. So yeah, interesting stuff here by both players. Still, of course, a defensive gameplay, no abusement here by both of them. And yes, also no army move out by BYUN, just like he's shown us with those mass marines. Now finally the reactor is coming through. But yeah, still no wishes to attack against his opponent. The Zerg just keeps moving out just to see exactly where the expansion is located here. So yeah, let's see, is a roach horn being produced? No such thing as SERRAL, is just still droning up against his opponent. The first SCVs are also being produced here by him. Now let's have a look. The factory actually swaps their position, so we might see a double Hellion. Yes indeed, it's going for Hellions this time, so no Banshees, no Medivacs, no early Medivacs, but hold on, in the back he actually produces more and more barracks. So let's see, it's double Hellions into barracks. What an interesting decision here by BYUN versus his opponent. And let's see how things will unfold. The first Hellions are out as they're pushing here forward against SERRAL. SERRAL nicely spreading those creep eggs with those queens. Let's have a look into his main. Only the spawning pool, only drones, only queens and zerglings as income the first Hellions, but of course they will be nicely intercepted by those queens. And another more and more Hellions are pouring out by BYUN against his opponent, as now even the barracks should be finished. Of course, 3 barracks it is, as 1 Stargate is also being produced by him. So let's have a look what exactly is going to be happening here. As more and more Hellions tries of course to find a good position, tries of course to snipe as many workers as possible, but those creep eggs are really nicely spreaded. This could be a good move out by BYUN, as the queens are being left here in the back just to defend this expansion point. At the same time, SERRAL moves out with those zerglings, has vision now of the middle of the map. So yeah, BYUN could have taken this location. Maybe if he watches the replay he's going to be seeing it is not that well defended by SERRAL, but then again that creep makes those units really fast as the defenses are being set up here by BYUN. He's also adding another command center. So yeah, let's see how this will unfold as we have passed now the 5-minute mark. So once again a different strategy by BYUN. He's going into Hellions, he's going into infantry. He's now finishing his Stargate with those double Medivacs, as pretty soon he's going to back up those Hellions in the middle of the map against SERRAL. Let's see how things will unfold. The 5-minute mark it is moving out. Let's see where exactly he's going to be attacking. Perhaps this location is just one queen here. A Baneling's nest is being produced. The regrouping will happen here in the middle of the map for BYUN. The Hellions still on position. Let's have a look. He's going to be able to snipe perhaps some zerglings, as we're about to find out. Stim is not finished yet. Oh, hold on, it is actually finished, as he's now moving out straight towards the base, the expansion base from SERRAL. SERRAL being prepared with those queens, with more zerglings, as BYUN needs to be careful not to get surrounded here by those zerglings, but this is exactly what's going to be happening. The Medivacs might try to save them. Queens are nicely healing themselves up, so really great snap here by BYUN, taking out those Hellions with not that many casualties. Oh, nice job here by him, as BYUN is of course going into more and more infantry. His second expansion is being finished. He's going to land it really soon into this location. And the middle of the map now belongs to SERRAL, as more and more zerglings, I believe it is, going to be produced, and a nice macro hatch here by SERRAL, as he's also going into another hatchery into this location. Upgrades are also going out really nicely here by him, as more and more units are now pouring forward by BYUN, but he needs to be careful not to get surrounded. Of course, SERRAL is just waiting with those Banelings, with those zerglings and those queens. So a different strategy once again by SERRAL as well, as he's going really heavily into those zerglings, and he might try to attack this location with so many zerglings. Let's see if he's going to be successful. BYUN is on the move out. He has a tank, but this location is not that much being defended. There is a siege tank coming in here just in time. Overseer sees everything. This expansion is quite exposed, so SERRAL is going to surround it. Some SCVs are being pulled here, so sadly for BYUN, he's not paying attention. He even has to retreat with his forces, losing 6 workers really quick. And of course the mining time has been denied, but at the same time a strong force has to pull back here, as SERRAL is just going to wait here. Perhaps going to try to go for a surrounding mover once again. The creep is also nicely being spreaded, as BYUN is now moving forward only with one medivac and a couple of marines. So he has to, of course, to retreat as SERRAL keeps pushing forward with this creep. And yes, slowly but steadily he's perhaps going to make it here past this point with that creep, even reaching slowly but steadily into this location. And let's have a look. SERRAL, of course, clearing more and more of that creep highway, clearing those rocks, just creating more and more space for his units. BYUN at the retreat at a more defensive location. He has to, of course, defend this location just from any more incoming Zerg units. And there are those tanks nicely being positioned here in the upper part. And here let's have a look what exactly the next steps are going to be, as more and more Zerglings are pouring in, but SERRAL tries to find a good position. At the same time he's defending, he's buying time for his expansions. Worker wise, we have SERRAL at 86 workers already versus the 78 from BYUN, as BYUN is just leaving a small group of units here just to see in case SERRAL is moving forward. SERRAL will of course try to attack this location, but BYUN has nicely walled in here. He even has some tanks. And yeah, let's see what exactly is going to happen in here. Much more mobile unit composition by SERRAL, of course, as he's on creep versus those medivacs and those marines. Nice cutting back and forth here by BYUN. Some banings do get some connections, but in the end, of course, BYUN has to retreat. As he's still waiting here. Same can be said for SERRAL, also waiting. But when exactly he's going to be striking, he might strike, do a double strike here into this location, and also pour in here with those Zerglings. He even might go for this location, but BYUN seems like he has units all over the place into his base, as the queens, of course, do their best to get more of that. Nice banging connections here, so BYUN not really paying attention, as the vehicle weapons one are going to be finished really soon. So yeah, let's have a look what exactly is going to be happening next here for BYUN and for SERRAL. Really interesting stuff here. Nice defenses by BYUN, as SERRAL still waits. He's going to warp in some banelings, as BYUN is just spreading his units, of course, all over the map. But slowly but steadily, if you look at the mini-map, more and more creep is being produced by SERRAL as he's pushing here forward. Finally, the banelings have finished. He's going straight into this location. He might get sniped, so not all of those banelings made it here through. So really nice job, but in the end, BYUN immediately reacting and repairing and rebuilding those supply depots. So not that much of a successful push here by SERRAL, but in comes his main force. The question is, he's going to commit, as those tanks are nicely hidden here at a high ground. So SERRAL needs to be, of course, really careful against those. And we even see another group of Zerglings in the upper right ground. So he's, of course, waiting for BYUN to move out, and in the end he's going to try to surround all of his units. And let's see how that works, even though those tanks are really killing so many units. 12 kills on this one, 70 on this one. Also not such a nice position by BYUN here, really doing a great defensive job and even having a liberator. So SERRAL still inviting BYUN to do the first move, spreading those Zerglings all over the map. Let's have a look. Does he have some other support units? Perhaps some Vipers, perhaps some Infestors. Don't see such thing by him. Only banings, as finally we see the first Vipers move out now. Really strong units as a support, as that blinding cloud could be really strong, especially if he casts it perhaps into this location, as we're about to find out what exactly is going to happen here. SERRAL once again spreading his units, spreading those Zerglings in the upper right part, in the middle of the map. Yes, still it's a waiting game for both of them preparing their macro oriented game, preparing more and more expansions. And yeah, let's have a look. The gold mine is about to get finished, but hold on, we do see some Ultralisk being added by SERRAL. And Ultralisk really a very tanky unit this time. So this is the difference. Zerglings with banelings and backed up by those Ultralisk and even Vipers. So Vipers with a blinding cloud should be able to take care of those tanks. And let's have a look. This is the expansion point that SERRAL is choosing, or is he going to attack? He's waiting for those Vipers. Liberation zones has also been set up. SERRAL is just pretty much in the middle of the map, controlling the middle of the map, and looks like he's going to pour in here forward with those blinding clouds perfectly casted onto those siege tanks. The banelings are moving forward. There is no infantry here to defend those tanks, and in come those ultralists now just to take care of the remaining tanks. The banelings keep rolling in, and it looks like, yes, BYUN has just given up. He has lost so much supply, and yeah, this is going to be the victory for SERRAL. So SERRAL currently leading 2-1, as we have spawning here in the lower left. In the blue it is SERRAL, and his opponent in the upper right. In the red it is BYUN. SERRAL in game number 3 with a really nice timing push with those Zerglings, with those banelings, with those ultralisks, really doing so much damage against BYUN. Even though BYUN had some siege tanks, those blinding clouds just perfectly being added by SERRAL. Just 2 Vipers, really important to have against those siege tanks. Now let's see how things will unfold here on Glittering Ashes. I believe a 2 spawning location map. SERRAL already moving out with his Overlord. Second Overlord is out, as by the looks of it is going to head straight into the fast expansion. BYUN still with the same build order this time, however adding a refinery, so he might add some Reapers against SERRAL. And let's see, SERRAL not going actually for a fast expansion build, pretty much different build order. He's going into gas first and then spawning pool. So interesting build order here by SERRAL, as he has 17 workers, now finally sending out the drone for the first expansion. So gas first into spawning pool and then into expansion, as we have passed finally the 1 minute mark. BYUN's barrack is about to finish. Let's see, going to add a reactor. Yes, indeed, he's adding that 1 reactor. So we will see once again the first, just like the first games, the strategy here for BYUN, with I believe a massive amount of move out by those Marines just to harass the Zerg as much as possible. So let's have a look. He's nicely walling in, he's taking his expansion. SERRAL also got his expansion, he's might very likely going to take this expansion here as well, as the first Zerglings are already out. So this was the plan by SERRAL, having those first Zerglings out really quick. This is also going for this 1 upgrade, for that speed upgrade. So this could be really strong against BYUN. I don't think that BYUN is expecting this, perhaps thinking about a fast expansion build or remove by the Zerg. But now he's adding even another barracks, as the first Zerglings are pouring here forward, and speed has almost halfway being done. So this 1 SCV might be in trouble early on. We see the Marines hiding behind those rocks. Let's see if SERRAL is going to commit with his 4 Zerglings here, but no, actually BYUN being the one committing here with his Marines. Let's have a look. More and more Marines are being produced, as the 3 racks strategy, just like a 3 racks against Protosses. BYUN doing the same strategy against the Zerg, and let's see how that will unfold, as more and more Zerglings are actually pouring here forward by SERRAL, as he's taking his 2nd expansion as well. So this could be really strong. Some SCVs might get sniped against BYUN. Let's have a look. SERRAL waiting of course for that speed upgrade to be done, and here we go, nice spread out of those Marines, but in the end they will be surrounded as the reinforcements are pouring in. So already SERRAL really aggressive with his Zerglings, not allowing any mining to go on for BYUN, as the SCVs have to be pulled back, but the SCVs will take quite some damage. The wall-in now works a little bit against BYUN, as he has to keep it open up here, not to allow any Zerglings to pour here forward, and sadly for him he has lost 5 SCVs, and SERRAL still into this location, still denying the mining time from BYUN, and really nice job here by him, as SERRAL as it 30 workers versus the 23 army-wise, both at the same army count, but the first damage has already been done here by SERRAL against his opponent. Really interesting build order if you're a Zerg player. Gas first into spawning pool, and only then fast expansion, just to have those faster moving Zerglings out, just to damage the economy as much as possible for the Terran. So really interesting build order here by SERRAL, showing us many more options are open for the Zerg if you're facing a Terran. We had a Terran not really able to move out here with his Marines. He has to wait for that wall-in to be finished. Nice spread by SERRAL with his Overlords, with his Zerglings. And yeah, let's see what the next steps are going to be, as now SERRAL is pretty much droning up, is producing more and more Zerglings. Still I don't see a Baning's Nest, no Roach Warrant. And yeah, let's have a look at BYUN. He's still at 3 barracks, yes indeed, and adding now a factory. Should be followed up really soon by a Stargate. So yeah, BYUN now moving out with a small task force with some Marines, and the other Marines will join here the army, so quite a strong force this time by BYUN with so many Marines, massive amounts of Marines. This is going now into that starport with those medivacs, and yeah, let's see if he's going to be able to do something with those Marines. Really many of them. Stim is not being done yet. Let's have a look. I don't think that Stim is being done either, that or BYUN not using Stim yet. There are some Queens, there are some Zerglings. Actually Stim is being done with that Baning's Nest, but yeah, BYUN really nicely kiting those Marines back and forward. Queens however are healing themselves up. One has been sniped. The Zerglings are falling really low, but yeah, BYUN pretty much lost some time thanks to that early aggression by SERRAL, and now he has to retreat the Stim Marines. At the same time, SERRAL moves forward just to intercept the reinforcements by BYUN, and with that speed being upgraded, of course BYUN is being caught off guard. Sadly no medivacs here as the Marines will fall. So yeah, nice defense here by SERRAL against those Marines. Let's see what he's going to be trying, perhaps with some Banings to bust here forward. Still roaming around, still waiting for any reinforcements. I believe the Baning Nest has been finished, of course, and the research is going on here for him. Yeah, more and more gas is being added, more and more drones. Slowly but steadily we're closing at the 10-minute mark. We have a layer being finished. All of those upgrades. Let's have a look at the main from BYUN. Yes, 3 barracks, 1 factory, 1 starport. So yeah, pretty standard stuff. As in comes this one overseer. And is there going to be a Nidus one perhaps? Oh no, it's just SERRAL checking out the main production buildings here from BYUN. As we see one Marine coming here back. It's still mass Marines for BYUN. I believe 1 tank has been added indeed. So yeah, still nice groups of units for the Terran. Let's see if he's going to be able to make something happen. Snapping those Queen Eggs. Queens are in position. They should be able to heal themselves up. Just 1 tank in the back just to support those units. And yeah, let's see what exactly is going to happen. The tank is a little bit exposed. 1 or 2 actually, even 2. Almost 2 Queens have been sniped as the Marines keep pushing here forward against units from BYUN. So really nice job here by SERRAL, pushing up forward with those siege tanks, with those Marines. But in the end, SERRAL is able to clear this out. So nice job here by him. This is trying, of course, to create a creep highway, but BYUN, sadly for him, caught a little bit off guard. So many Zerglings and Banings and those Queens. Let's see if he's going to be able to. He's trying, of course, to snipe those Banings, going for the high ground. In the end, he's getting surrounded, so he has to retreat a little bit. So really nice defense going on by SERRAL against his opponent. As you know, once again the high ground is being opted by BYUN. Really nice stuff to do with those medivacs, just to keep the Zerg at bay. And yeah, really nice job here by him, roaming around, not allowing any army move out by the Zerg. But yeah, in the end, the units have fallen for BYUN. This is also still having more army supply against his opponent. And yeah, let's have a look. The reinforcements are also pouring in, but it's still only 1 siege tanks with those. Actually, it's 2 siege tanks with those Marines. And yeah, BYUN really wishing, of course, to snap those expansion points. Apparently, he's just able to snap the creep eggs. Yes, SERRAL is preparing, of course, a nice task force. He might try to go for another surround maneuver. It's going to invite BYUN to attack, and this is exactly what is going to happen. BYUN is moving here forward with his units, with his siege tanks, 2 of them. But little does he know that SERRAL is on the back, and of course to intercept those reinforcements. We have some liberators into this zone. Nice spread here by BYUN. And let's have a look. The Banings are getting some good connection, so BYUN not really paying attention, but then of course he has much more infantry. Let's see what exactly the hatchery is taking quite some damage. The Queens are in position. We might see some healing going on. Let's in come the forces from the back, from SERRAL, from the back, from the front. Once again pouring all over BYUN here. BYUN caught of course off guard. He still has those liberators in the air, but the queens are here to intercept. And yeah, SERRAL pretty much pushing this back. Nicely done here, really nice lesson just to go for those surrounding maneuvers against the Terran. The Terran caught of course off guard. Yes, yeah, nice job here by SERRAL, but the Terran has to regroup of course. Let's see what the next steps are going to be as SERRAL still tries to move around with his Zerglings. This expansion is not really defended by BYUN, as BYUN is once again pairing his all in with those units. He has some Marines in the back, but this expansion is pretty much exposed. And yeah, let's have a look. Creep is going to get cleared. SERRAL sees this, of course, that the Terran is moving forward, brings his Hydras here, brings his units, but leaves those units here just to snipe as many SCVs. And of course 11 SCVs have fallen. BYUN is into this location. There are Hydras now, there are Queens, so massive amounts of Hydras. He might try to go for Lurkers. Let's have a look. Still the remaining Zerglings are in the back, so the siege tanks might be once again under threat. Steam once again goes on. SERRAL waiting of course for more and more reinforcements, and in he comes from the back, even with some Hydras, even with those Banelings, with those Zerglings all over the map, just clearing everything out, even healing those Hydras with those Queens. Really nice job here by SERRAL. The high ground is however now for the Terran, as he's nicely kiting back and forth those Marines. But the Banelings still get some connection, and this of course this is going to be the victory for SERRAL against BYUN. SERRAL taking it with 3-1. Such a nice series, so many interesting build orders, so many interesting units by both of them. Once again, I hope you enjoyed this series. We'll be seeing of course in the next replays. This is Tommy signing out.